Hey Leo, how's it going? We're here with your reading, what you need to know for August. The first card out is Ace of Wands. I'm seeing the Sun on the bottom of the deck. This looks like an opportunity that you're going to be very happy about. I'm seeing King of Wands and I'm also seeing the Tower. Okay. When the Tower happens, it looks like that becomes... Okay, let's actually describe what the Tower is going to be like. The effect of the Tower can feel like something that you have going on ends up sort of... It can feel like something burns down or something starts collapsing or something slips out of your hand. Tower is when something feels like it's no longer stable, so it can feel like a crumbling that's happening, or it can be like everything finally comes to a head. It can be that moment. In the moment of the Tower, which feels more like an indication of I can't rely on this, or I can't build from this, or like this is going to keep becoming unstable or like volatile in some way. It's feeling like that, like an eruptive sort of energy with the Tower. It feels like it indicates to you, Leo, like I can't rely on this, or I can't depend on this, or this is unstable. And you can be in a spot where whatever this has to do with, you want it to be that way. And it's not going to work for you for this to be like unreliable or unstable. And so in the moment of the Tower happening, it feels like that is going to be a moment where you're like, I can't get what I need from this if it's going to be like this. And the Tower feels like that moment of this is how it is in this instance. And again, like it's not going to be stable. It's not going to be reliable. And I'm not going to be able to feel like securely connected to this unless it is. So it feels like that's an indication for you of being ready to step away. The Tower is kind of like, I don't want to have to deal with this chaos, like that type of thing, but not just from a space of like, I'm not patient with this anymore. This feels more so like, I know that I'm needing on an internal level this thing to be stable in order for me to feel like I'm getting what I need from it. And because of that happening, I don't want to keep having to go through this. I want to be connecting with something that feels solid for me, that feels like a foundation that's not going to be disturbed. And because I'm seeing this as being the opposite of that, I'm going to step away from that and find something that will be stable for me. And it looks like what you're walking away towards is going to be a time of rest. It can be a time of recharging, and the Tower can feel like the opposite of that. The Tower is like everything crumbling, you gotta move, you can't stay there, it's like that type of thing. So having you move to something that's gonna feel, Four of Wands is gonna feel like stable, it's gonna feel calm, it's gonna feel like you're recovering or you're getting some type of peace of mind. So this can be like, I can't have peace of mind here because you never know what could happen, and it doesn't feel like there's a sense of structure, it just keeps breaking down. You're going to be moving towards a place where you feel like you can be more at ease. This feels like it comes from something that could have had a lot of potential, but it feels at the same time like there's an opportunity for you to not have to be involved in this anymore. Like I'm seeing actually there's a door that's opening for you and you can take advantage. And this Tower is also now feeling kind of like your energy where because of an opportunity that's coming through, you can look at it and be like, I don't have to stay here in this chaos anymore. Like I have the opportunity to leave this now and I can get peace of mind if I do that, but it's going to be on you because it feels like you can stay in whatever this Tower situation is, or you can look and be like, I have an out, like I have an opportunity to go elsewhere now, and it looks like that's going to be happening. It can be going into a period where there's going to be like healing, recharging, resting, centering, grounding, like those types of things. It's more like a peaceful vibe that you're moving towards, where you feel like mentally you don't have to, it can feel like a mental recovery for you. That's what this opportunity coming through is. It's something that will give you peace of mind, I'm getting. And the Tower is going to feel like there's something activating within me that feels like I need to do something here. Like I need to respond to what's going on. I'm seeing the Death card. This is an opportunity for major change within your life. I'm seeing this be associated with the Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands will be something where it's like an opportunity, it's potential, it's going to be a door that's opening for you. What's behind the door is the Death card. What this means is that if you do end up going through this door, it can mean that there's going to be a really big change that you'll be taking part in. But it can be something that's worth it to you. There can also be like surrender that's involved in this too. With the Death card, it's like if you want this opportunity, you're going to have to like give this other thing as a trade. But it can be something where you're like, I'm ready to shed the skin in that way, and I'm ready for my life to move or grow or expand in this direction. And that also means that I'm going to be shedding this other part here. For some of you, a relationship can be involved in this. I'm seeing Aquarius, and I'm seeing Scorpio, and I'm seeing Mars. Okay. There is a path that you are currently walking down. It feels like the Tower happens in association with that. So there's this path that you're traveling upon, and you could have felt like, I really do want to be here, but at the same time, if things are going to keep blowing up in my face, I don't want to do that. And again, like that can be the moment that's indicating like this isn't working for me. But I get this feeling of that doesn't mean that you wouldn't prefer to be walking down that path. You may still be, but it's something that you can feel like does not, there are just other parts of it. What's the best way? It's like, okay, let me just use an example here. It's like orange ice cream is your favorite ice cream, okay? But every time you eat it, you have like the worst reaction to it. And so it doesn't mean that that's not like the best ice cream you've ever tasted before, but what it means is that there's just some really volatile stuff that comes of that, and there are consequences that you're like, it's not worth it. Like, even though this is still my favorite ice cream, like it's not worth it to keep eating it and keep having these things happen, which feels like it's not like I don't want to be walking down this path, but when I keep indulging like with that, like with this desire of mine, this stuff keeps happening, and I feel like emotionally it's been very volatile for me and not allowed me to fully connect. And so it doesn't mean that I wish this didn't work. I wish that it did work, but also at the same time, there's another part of me that's not getting my needs met, and it feels like on an emotional level, actually. So that can mean like, it's not like my taste buds don't like this, but my body is not reacting well to this. So it can feel like something that's even beyond your control. And there can be part of your values that do align with walking down this path. Having it be Page of Wands, it's like, I do feel interest in this and inspiration, and I do want to be here, but I feel like I keep getting pushed off the path because I'm not supposed to be doing this. That's what it will feel like. And having Eight of Cups can be like, what I'm looking for on an internal level, I'm not going to be able to find here, you know, like I can't digest this. And so Eight of Cups is feeling like I do want to find something that I can digest. So I may have to find something else that I'm going to better be able to digest, that will also not have me continuing to have to experience the Tower, like that sort of thing. That's going to need to be communicated, I'm seeing. I get something coming through. Having Death card and having the star can feel like it may be hard, but I have to surrender this because I feel like there's another path that's developing before me, and I'm actually supposed to be walking that way. You may really spend some time looking into this before you make that call, but it does seem like you're going to be making that call. And you may even take a break walking down any path of this kind just to have time to collect yourself. Towards the end of August, there's going to be some type of mental like coming back that's happening. You may need to ground, may need a break, you may need to like go on vacation for a minute. Whatever it is, it feels like rather than engaging further, I need to take that step back and I need to find my center again, definitely from a mental standpoint. After this event happens, okay. I'm seeing 10 of Swords and I'm also seeing 3 of Swords. This can be like I have to recover from something ending that I still don't feel like I'm over yet, as this feels like it's something relatively new. I am seeing 7 of Swords on the bottom of the deck. I wonder what that's about. You can feel like there was potential for something. As I said before, like with this Tower and with this Page of Wands, but then 8 of Cups after it, it can feel like that type of ice cream is still like the ice cream that I wanted, but because of not being able to digest this, like this is not going to work. So you can feel like there was so much potential there, and it doesn't mean that you don't like that anymore, you just can't really digest it anymore. And that's where it feels like the sort of stepping away ends up happening. I am seeing those 7 of Swords on the bottom of the deck, and so I feel almost like this is something that may not be as over as you think it is necessarily. You can also see something that you weren't seeing before too. I just get this feeling that there could have been, it's like I don't know if I'm just repeating myself or if I'm giving more detail every time for this. I'm seeing you be walking down a path, which means that you have a certain thing going on that you're up to, that you want to be up to, but having the Tower is like, this has like really some type of like negative impact on me or on my life, and it's really destabilizing. Like everything keeps blowing up in my face when I'm doing this, and I'm seeing 7 of Swords and I'm seeing Ace of Swords on the bottom of the deck. And what this can mean is that like you end up having a breakthrough where you're like, I was really sabotaging myself, or I was not being honest with myself about that. So this actually feels like something that you're weeding out that was actually really destabilizing, but it can feel like something that you were still enjoying doing, or something that you liked to do, like something that you could feel like, I wasn't finished doing that, but maybe because of the repercussions of it, you couldn't do that any longer. Maybe it's also too something that you were like, this is like really impacting me so negatively. It feels almost like a vice. That's kind of what this is feeling like at this point. It may be like, I don't know, it could be something different than that, but it's feeling like if there had been something going on that there may be a part of you, there's definitely a part of you that it resonates with, but there's also another part of you that does not, that actually is like the opposite of in resonance with the effects that this thing has on you. It's like that sort of thing. So you can be like, if I do this particular thing, like eat this particular ice cream, there's a part of me that loves it, but the part of me that needs my body to be functioning healthfully it's very negatively impacted by this, and so it's like very misaligned in that way, even though it may be aligned with another part of myself. And I feel there being like tension or conflict that arises because of that. I get the feeling that you're going to look at something and maybe feel like it ends badly, only because you could feel like something did not fully play out. Starting with an ace, but then ending with 10 of swords and 3 of swords. Ace is like the pure potential of something that can feel like I didn't even get to experience it for that long, and now it's coming to an end, and it can feel very heartbreaking in that respect. But having death card and having 4 of swords, it feels like this was actually like very much meant to be in order for you to continue evolving. And in that moment, you can look and be like, as much as there was a part of me that really enjoyed doing whatever that was, what happens is there are either there are going to be repercussions that are just bad enough, it seems, that you're going to be like, I can't, like, things can't be stable if I continue doing this. And on a deeper level, I'm looking for a type of stability that's not available if I keep doing this. You can feel like this is somehow impacts your future, or a dream, or something like that of yours, something deeper of yours. But I want to say this again, like, even though something can feel like it, Leo, even though something can feel like it happens in a very severe way, I almost feel like this is one of those moments where you may think that something is over, but then it doesn't end up actually being like that. But this may be one of those times where your guides have to be like, see what can happen, and you like really see the closing out of something, and then that may be the thing that sort of snaps you back into where you needed to be. And then stuff ends up happening after that. So even though I am seeing the death card and I am seeing 10 of swords and 3 of swords, it does seem like something really big comes to a head. But at the same time, you can feel like this thing that your ego can be like, why did that have to happen? You're gonna see like later on that this was really necessary to like a very big part of your journey here, because it would feel like you couldn't move past this until this part happened. So even though in the moment of you experiencing this, you can be like, no, this opportunity, like the door closed too soon, at the same time, it feels like this is one of those things where if you weren't going to do something yourself, like the universe is going to come through and like slam that door shut. And in that moment, you can be like, hey, but I wasn't done yet. But it feels like things just needed to end at that point, and stuff will be able to continue after that. I want to just tune into this a little bit more. Actually, I want to get more cards. I want to get 4 more cards and see what else is going on here. This feels like it's related to something that you were doing. It can be like behavior, choices, something that you were playing out. I'm also seeing there be a notion of there being some type of mental healing that happens. Like another part of you that comes online, and it's connected with your discernment. Kind of seeing even the pattern of something like, oh, that happened because of that, and I'm seeing that now, like how that decision when I was doing that happened because of it. It feels like that sort of thing where you could have been doing something, and this can be that moment where it's like you're seeing the effect of something, and it's a type of effect that you don't want to have to experience. And so this part of you coming online is like, you know that you don't have to keep experiencing this, right? It's like that type of thing. Yeah, there's a part of you that's like, I've had it up to here, but I'm getting this, even though other people can be involved in this, yeah, I'm seeing this be like you with these different parts of yourself, where Up at the top over here, there's something about you and behavior and decision making, something that you're involved in, a tower that occurs, and then you being like, I don't want to have to keep experiencing this, because you may have an opportunity that comes through where it's like, here, you want to go through this door, and if you continue to do something, you could just keep getting these results where you're like, that's not actually giving me what I need, and you may actually take a break altogether from something, because you can feel like, either on a small scale or a large scale, you can be like, this is ruining my life. Even if it's just on like more of a minute scale here, you can feel like something that's going on, it's disruptive to your life and how you want to be connecting with things, and it doesn't allow you to fully connect in a stable way. So you can feel like there's a lack of fulfillment and satisfaction, but it can be something that you're realizing that you weren't expecting to realize. But I'm seeing something happens where you can't really ignore it, because the tower is going to be something where it's like, oh, that's what like my guides have been trying to tell me the whole time. It'll be like one of those moments. And in that moment, you'll be like, well, now that I can see this very clearly because it's right in my face, I'm seeing that I actually don't want this. So it'll be that type of thing. Like, I'm not going to get what I need from that. And so there can be a moment where you're like, I'm not going to walk through any doors right now. I'm just going to sit here for a second and collect myself. So I'm seeing that happening first. Then in the next row, you have the Death card and you have the Star, which can mean that you have to surrender something, but it's for a good reason, because the Star will be like, this has to do with my purpose, or this has to do with my hopes and dreams, or this has to do with my future. And the Death card is like, here, hand this thing over and I'll give you this instead. And it can feel like if you make that trade, you're able to step on a path that feels like full of optimism in a way where what you were doing before wasn't really connecting you with that. Like, you could have felt a little bit hopeless with something, that this instills a sense of hope or aspiration within you. Having there be this Page of Wands here, it can mean too that you get inspired to start doing something. Like, there's a path where you're like, there's something about this that's calling to me, or I feel really intrigued by this or interested in it. It's something that you will feel mentally engaged in. So it will feed that part of you, but it also feels like something that you can actively participate in. If you decide to do this, it feels also too like you're going to be coming to terms with something that will be ending simultaneously. Like, I'm going to be going this way, and if I really am going to make that commitment or make that jump to be doing this, I have to surrender this other thing. So it's going to be a time of like switching things out. So that's what I'm seeing happening in the middle here, which you can find like mid-month. That's what's going to be happening. This means that basically a path is going to become available to you. But for some reason, it feels almost like it's been there, but now it's like more seriously being looked at. It's going to allow things to come together in a way where like something, it's like the magnets were pointed in the wrong direction, and even though they're supposed to be together because of the direction they were pointed in before, they kept like pushing each other away. This is going to allow the magnets to like flip and connect the way that they're supposed to, like symbolizing energetic force within your life. For some of you, even are connected with a relationship that you have. Something needed to end in order for you to come back with yourself, and it can also mean coming back together with another person as well. Stuff emotionally comes to light too, I'm seeing, as it relates to your relationship with yourself. And for some of you, your relationship with another person, this is somebody you'd be very close with, or you want to be close with this person. Also too, something that I'm seeing is that you may get to the point where you even set boundaries with yourself, because you're like, I keep getting hurt because of this, and I'm seeing this part of you come online and be like, I don't want to have to experience this anymore. But it can feel like a part of you comes online that is the part of you that maybe has a little bit of baggage, I'm seeing. So the part of you that's gone through stuff, because I'm seeing Queen of Swords, but I'm getting this be your energy. You look at Queen of Swords looks at the energy that is your Queen of Cups. So Queen of Swords is the part of you that, using your discernment and your logic, will look at an emotional aspect of you and be like, because of you, we keep going through this, and like, you need to learn boundaries, or you need to learn discernment on an emotional level. Queen of Cups can have to do with interpersonal relationships. It can have to do with substances. It has to do with feelings, with either being numb or being connected, or either escaping or being present. You know, it's like those types of things that have to do with your cups energy, like what I'm sensing or what I'm numb to, like those sorts of things, what I'm tuned into or what I'm distancing myself from, because it's hard to bear the weight of that. Having Queen of Swords here, this feels like somebody that's gone through some stuff and is like, I don't want to have to keep doing this. It looks like it's sort of sparring with this other part of you, but only to be able to find common ground. Because I feel even like, you know, Queen of Cups can be your energy where when you're emotionally just an example, when you're emotionally connected with somebody, you can allow things to happen where you're like, this doesn't feel good because this part of you is like, I keep getting hurt because that's crossing a line. I have a boundary. But Queen of Cups can be like, but I'm going to keep martyring myself and allowing it to happen because I love this person. And it's like self-deprecating. This can be a moment where there's a part of you that's like, why do you keep doing this to me? AKA, why do we keep doing this to ourselves? It'll be like that type of thing. And what's coming to light is, even though this can be something that feels like a really difficult moment to come to terms with, this is actually a uniting of these two parts of you, with a part of yourself that's advocating to another part of yourself. I know this can feel kind of complicated because we're like breaking things down in that way. Your Queen of Swords energy will be the part of you that's intellectual and logical and will be more cerebral, that has been really going through it. So you can feel like stuff's been going on with your mental health or just like your thinking in general. And your moods can also be affected by this too. It feels like this part of you that's like, I need to set boundaries with this part of myself that is emotionally connected, but is doing things where it's setting me up to keep experiencing these towers because I'm not using this energy to the most evolved, like, possibility. Like that sort of thing. Like you can feel like the way you've been using your water energy in this instance, it's like not reaching its potential, and this will be a moment where it's like you have greater potential than that and we need to start utilizing it in that way. And what's coming like from this, coming to light from this, is that there's now a congruence between these two parts of you. And even though they have something to work out here, because I feel like this is the Queen of Swords coming to the Queen of Cups being like, hey, I need to talk to you about this, we need to work this out, even though that can be a difficult moment. Like, even just think about somebody coming to you and being like, I have this stuff that I'm going through and this is really heavy and I need to talk to you about it because you're very much involved in this. Which for some of you, this can be somebody coming to you and saying this. Also, though, it will be something that you're experiencing internally within you. And even though that can be a moment, because it's like, I don't want to like see... Queen of Cups is going to look at Queen of Swords and be like, I don't want to see you and like you going through this pain. But also at the same time, Queen of Swords is going to be like, this is just part of life and something that we need to deal with, and I need you to be present to this because we have a relationship, and like, don't run away from this, you know? And it's like you saying that to you. So you can feel like emotionally there could have been something that you weren't being like totally present to. This is going to be that moment that comes to light when it's like these parts of yourself, they want to be integrated, but there's something that can be like kind of painful or difficult to be like, wow, this is really going on, and like just look at it without covering it up or like running away from it, like that type of thing. And this is actually going to be a point where you gain a lot of power from this. It's something that's going to like increase your like life force, or just like your power in general. I feel like there's a word or like sentiment that I'm looking for here. It's gonna, yeah, it'll just be a point of power for you essentially. It feels like something within the solar plexus is going to be unblocked, like in that moment where these energies come together, where you can just feel like your life force increases, because rather than you having these like separate entities like within yourself that are, well, elements that are like your water and your air, instead of them being like apart from one another, they're working something out, and that means they're going to fuse together and they'll be working together then. So you won't feel like my mind and my heart are in two different places. Like I've been experiencing this cognitive dissonance. This is going to be that moment where you're like, wow, I've been experiencing cognitive dissonance and I'm seeing what's going on. So you can actually unite that, and there's going to be immense power in you uniting that, and you're going to feel so much more at peace with yourself. So that's ultimately what this opportunity is that's coming through. That's the real door that's opening for you. But what that means is that something that you've been doing, that it's going to come to a head and be very obvious. You don't have to play detective and find this out. Something will be happening where it's like, this is the thing that we've been talking about, and you're going to keep experiencing this tower if you do not stop doing it, or if you don't disengage, or if you keep going in there trying to get something from it. It's like going to be one of those moments where it's like, that really blew up in my face, like that type of thing. Again, can be on a small scale, can be on a larger scale. It just depends what's going on with you. But it will be that moment where it's like, it's so obvious. Again, you don't have to look for it, and it'll be a moment where you get to make that choice. Do I want to keep experiencing this, or do I want to just like cut my losses and try to find what I'm actually looking for? And it will be that moment there. So it will feel really significant, and in that moment you'll get to make the choice. Am I ready to surrender this thing that's not working clearly? Or am I not ready to surrender it, and I'm not ready to accept this, and I need to keep experiencing this a little bit more? There's a part of you that already is like totally online and aware of this, and there's another part of you that may have been like trying to escape from this or run away from it because it didn't want to deal with this, because it could have just been having a hard time. But now these energies are coming together within you, and it's almost like they're meeting each other and having the conversation that they have been sort of avoiding the whole time. It's like, it's going to be that type of thing. And for some of you, you'll also be experiencing this happening within your interpersonal relationships as well. That can be a way that you see this. That will just be like another iteration of what's going on an internal level for you. Wow, so complicated. I'm looking at Scorpio, Aquarius, Mars, and the Sun. Mars and the Sun coming together will be a time of great, immense power for you, where you can really make, and especially to having Scorpio here, you can make a huge change in your life that will feel super significant. And having Aquarius here, this can be something that allows you to heal in an area of your life, and also gives you more hope for your future too. Even though it can be difficult to release something, but it also means that you are going to be like transmuting something that's been paining you maybe for a while, and maybe where some of this stuff has been coming from too. There's definitely going to be an opportunity for a release, but I'm getting that at this point you still have a choice. So you can have the tower happen and be like, like still not a big enough tower for me to feel like I'm totally at rock bottom, and you could potentially continue something. Or there will be a part of you that's like, I can't ignore this, and even though like I don't want to have to make this change, or I don't want to have to accept this, I kind of like have to now, because I'm seeing that this is the only right way to go here for me. So that's what's going to be happening during the month of August. This feels like it's very intricate, so you may find it helpful to come back to this reading probably when the tower happens. The tower will be that moment that feels like an eruption within your life, where you're like, what's going on? It can feel very chaotic. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you get to that moment. Okay? And in that moment, I saw 3333. If you come back to this reading, you will find it be helpful to sort of guide you through the rest of the process and clarify things for you and sort of let you know what's going on. I am seeing Four of Cups on the bottom of the deck, which can mean sort of like what's coming up for you at this time. There may be a part of you that wants to sort of shy away from it, or deny it, or like not engage with it, but I do feel like this is something that from this point on, it's going to get stronger until you have to deal with it, and you can just deal with it now and then be done with it, or you cannot deal with it now, and then things are probably going to get more intense from that point. All right, my friends, we are going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.